Caddis Maximus here, this time with a review of the PT Performance Tool Ratcheting Precision Screwdriver Multi-Bit. Found a couple PT tools on a $5 sale at a local hardware store, so decided to pick them up. I thought it was kind of interesting. PT is the tool brand of Wilmar Tools. They were known for making bottle jacks, and it's actually surprising to see them still around. So I paid $5 for this, and it seems okay. They advertise it as being ABS. It actually has a pretty nice finish and fit and finish. I just don't know about its overall durability. Although for $5 I can't complain. So, I like screwdrivers. I picked this up because it's kind of an interesting precision screwdriver that's a multi-bit. You get 12 different sizes. You have 12 double-ended long bits. And that's kind of what caught my attention, is that most of these types of 4mm or 5/32 drivers are almost always in sets that just have interchangeable bits, such as this little ratcheting Lennox that I like. However, many electronics have these small screws that are in tight, deep recessed holes, and really you need just a set of regular old precision screwdrivers. So I guess the selling point of this one is it is ratcheting and it has a pretty easy to use ratcheting mechanism. Kind of reminds me of the old Stanley push type screwdrivers, the Stanley Yankees, the way they have the slide switch in order to adjust it. It is pretty well recessed there, and gives you pretty easy access, allows you to get into recessed holes, and it has all these bits that are all kind of ready to go. If we can get this thing to focus for me here. It has a rotating collar. It does have little detents in it, and so you just rotate the collar, put in the bit, and then it hold them all together. And so that's kind of why I got it, is because it's pretty handy to actually have all these sizes but in just a bit driver itself. So the things I do, here, let me get a bit back out of here. You just slide it out. The chuck on it is pretty deep. It's not magnetic. It's actually a friction fit because it's using these double-ended bits here, so it retains it a little bit easier. I mean, overall, it's not, super tight or anything like that. It's permanently installed. This back cap is snapped into place. This front ring just holds on this little collar, so I do worry a little bit about that, the durability of this front collar. But surface finish feels pretty good. I also find it interesting their selection of sizes here. Although overall, I think I like them. It is good for electronics. It does not have the smallest Phillips sizes, such as like this set where I'll have super tiny Phillips and a bunch of super tiny star drives. This only goes down to T7, but it goes all the way up through T15, which I like. It does have a pretty small 00 and 0 Phillips, but the number 2 Phillips is really what caught my eye, just because that's a pretty rare size, but something that's pretty common. And I also like how the cuts are, or how the tips are shaped. They really do hold in pretty nice, and there's so many times with electronics where you just need a number 2 Phillips, but sometimes a full-size screw number 2 doesn't quite fit in the bore. I will mention that this chuck will support all the standard bits because it's a friction fit, so I kind of like that option as well. But I just thought it was neat because it was a bigger handle, 4mm ratcheting bit driver. The long bits make it a little bit more versatile, and having them all just in the screwdriver itself is really what makes it handy. So initially I wasn't really going to do a review of this, but to tell you the truth, it is kind of a unique tool just because of the fact that it contains everything in the screwdriver handle. So this is something where I could easily see copier technicians and that type of stuff having a screwdriver like this just because it is so simple and it does give you the longer bits for good reach. I also wanted to mention, and I almost forgot to demonstrate, is the tightness that they have cast these bores prevents other normal bits from sliding out, so you can certainly use standard bits. There seems to be 2 different lengths of these types of bits. These longer Lennox ones, only 2 of them will fit in one of these bores. However, some shorter ones, like from Harbor Freight, you can actually fit 3 of them in there. And so I think that's kind of neat, is depending on the length of bit, you could actually not have these long bits, or you could pull out some of the long bits that you don't use and put in a couple different short ones if you just wanted to have short ones, or give yourself the option of different sizes. So I thought, even though it has a cheesy ratchet mechanism, it's actually kind of handy in the way that you can just kind of customize the different bits that it holds. makes it overall worth it, you know. And I talk about PT because they're infamous. They really have some strong salespeople who really get their products into a lot of smaller independent hardware stores, smaller independent auto parts stores. It seems where I find most of this PT stuff. In this case, this was a discount table at a local auto parts chain that has maybe, 5 or 10 stores. I saw it for $5. I just saw this in the package, and really how it looks is, it looks pretty nice. There isn't a lot of, flashing on the plastic. It seems to have a nice finish. The switch actually is pretty tight and has a little locks in it, or a little detent, so it doesn't want to slide back and forth once you've got it in its position. This does use, a pretty cheesy mechanism, but nonetheless, I think this might be pretty handy, and it's actually nice having a bit larger of a handle with a precision type screwdriver. Looking online, PT has listings of this upwards of $10. I wouldn't pay $10 for it, but if you can get it for less than $10, I think it might be actually a pretty decent screwdriver that you might find more use for it than you think, particularly when you're working on certain types of electronics where it ends up being that you just have some stuck screws and you just need a bigger handle with a little more meat on it. Really thought it was going to be real cheesy when I got it, but overall, I'll keep this around. I'll probably end up using it just for the convenience of being able to grab it and just have all the bits just ready to go. And you can always use one of those bit magnetizers or screwdriver magnetizers to magnetize these if you need to. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.